Hello and welcome back to my humble show. So I'm trying to record this as quietly and as quickly as possible. It is currently 3 o'clock in the morning for me. I'm restarting this recording because moments ago I heard a noise in the other room, in the kitchen to be exact. Went in there and found my wife snacking on cold pizza at 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, you get yourself back in bed. That's exactly what I need to do, but here I am, recording a show, a crime report. That's what this is going to be. Feel free to disagree with me, though I'm not really coming to many conclusions. Not too much speculation on my part. This is an ongoing investigation. We shall see, and I will hopefully update you later on if anything else comes out about this. Officer involved shooting near the White House. That's right. And yes, I do truly hope to get through this as quickly as possible because I need to go to bed. Have to get up and go to work in a few hours. Not looking forward to that, but who is? Just trying to get the week started off with a show here, so let's get the show going. Here's a screenshot of the full first statement by the Secret Service on the officer-involved shooting which occurred near the White House on Sunday morning. Very early Sunday morning, kind of like how it's early right now. The incident is under investigation by the Metropolitan Police Department, Internal Affairs Division's Force Investigations Team, which investigates all law enforcement officer-involved shootings in the District of Columbia. Yeah, that's a quote from this statement, which you can find on the U.S. Secret Service official website. Statement regarding March 9, 2025 officer-involved shooting. By the way, how's the time change treating you? I'm actually not that tired right now, considering how late it is or how early it is. Which is why I'm able to record right now. Sometimes I try to record this time of the night, this time of the morning, and I just end up falling asleep in my chair and feeling pretty good right now. Just not looking forward to tomorrow because I won't feel so good then. Anyways, U.S. Secret Service Media Relations. Following an officer-involved shooting near 17th and F Streets in the morning of March 9, Secret Service Uniform Division Chief Michael A. Buck released the following statement. On Sunday, March 9, an adult male was shot by U.S. Secret Service personnel following an armed confrontation with law enforcement in Washington, D.C. Earlier on Saturday, local police shared information about a suicidal individual who may be traveling to Washington, D.C. from Indiana. Around midnight, members of the Secret Service encountered the individual's parked vehicle near 17th and F Streets, northwest. They also saw an individual on foot matching the description nearby. As officers approached, the individual brandished a firearm, and an armed confrontation ensued, during which shots were fired by our personnel. The suspect was transported to an area hospital, and his condition is unknown. There were no reported injuries to Secret Service personnel. The incident is under investigation by the Metropolitan Police Department, Internal Affairs Division's Force Investigations Team, which investigates all law enforcement officer-involved shootings in the District of Columbia. And I already read that part, but there you have it once again. If I miss anything, yeah, the news cycle isn't exactly spinning right now because it's the middle of the night. So if you wake up before I do, and I'm sure you will, and you receive an update on this, some breaking news, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to hear from you. I try to keep up with things to the best of my ability, but I'm going to be at work shortly after a few hours of sleep, maybe a couple at this point. So let me just breeze on through this thread here. as quick, fast, and in a hurry as I can. As reported by Sky News, the man seemed suicidal and had potentially traveled to D.C. from Indiana before brandishing a firearm during an armed confrontation, as they're calling it, with law enforcement, which led him to be shot by the Secret Service, basically. The man was then taken to the hospital with injuries, condition unknown. And yes, here's a clip posted on the Sky News X account.
Breaking news coming from the US now, and the US Secret Service has shot a man near the White House in Washington, D.C. That's according to our colleagues at NBC News in the States. It happened shortly after midnight, after an armed confrontation with law enforcement, according to the Secret Service there. They say local police had reported what they described as a suicidal individual who had possibly travelled to Washington, D.C. from Indiana. They later located a vehicle and spotted a person on foot who matched the description. They then brandished a firearm, the report says, and an armed confrontation ensued, during which shots were fired by Secret Service personnel. They've confirmed the man was shot and has been taken to hospital. And this all happened on the intersection of 17th Street and F Street Northwest, which is near the White House in Washington, D.C. So just to reiterate, the US Secret Service has shot a man near the White House in Washington, D.C. He has subsequently been taken to hospital.
Yes, I did speed that up because he was basically just saying everything I had already said. But just so you can hear it from someone other than me. According to NBC News, the man was 27-year-old Andrew Dawson from Indiana. Though I will not speculate on his motive other than to say what they already said. He seemingly was unstable and potentially suicidal. Hopefully I do not get flagged on YouTube for saying that word or anything like that. Just reporting the news here. On Saturday, local police had informed that the man may be traveling from Indiana to D.C. in an unstable condition. I actually had a typo there in my caption. Ignore that. Onto this screenshot from this NBC News article, which is not wanting to load for some reason, because those sorts of things tend to happen when it's this late / this early, and even the computer's brains have gone to sleep. You know what? I could just pull up this actual article from NBC News rather than reading from the screenshot. There is a clip here. Let me see if I can play this.
Tonight, troubling questions after a shooting overnight near the White House.
Respond for the shooting, 17th East Street, Northwest.
Just after midnight, Secret Service saying their agents shot a man after an armed confrontation with law enforcement, after they were notified yesterday of a suicidal individual traveling to D.C. According to two senior law enforcement officials, the suspect is 27-year-old Andrew Dawson, driving this white Chrysler sedan from Indiana.
Units approached from the 18th Street side.
That's when, just one block from here, authorities found the man's parked vehicle and then spotted somebody who matched the man's description here, and that's when shots ensued. The close proximity of the gunshots to the White House heightening new concerns about security around the president, who spent the weekend in Palm Beach. President Trump survived an assassination attempt last year at a Pennsylvania campaign rally, and then while golfing on his West Palm Beach course 2 months later. Sean Curran, who was the Secret Service special agent in charge of his detail during the Butler attack, is now the agency's director. The security of the president and Vice President Vance of pinnacle concern. Vance, with his 3-year-old daughter, approached on the sidewalks of Cincinnati on Saturday by protesters supportive of Ukraine. Vance posting that the protesters followed us around and shouted as my daughter grew increasingly anxious and scared, though noting it was a mostly respectful conversation.
I had said, if I talk to you for a few minutes, will you leave my 3-year-old daughter alone? And you said yes. So I'd like you guys to respect that.
Vaughn Hilliard is joining us now from the White House. Vaughn, what else are we learning about that suspect tonight?
Hallie, the Secret Service says that Dawson was transported to a nearby hospital, though his condition at this hour is still unclear. Authorities also, though, said that they did, in fact, recover a gun from the scene.
Okay, I want to cut that off right before it ends because sometimes the next video will auto play, I should say. and I don't want that to happen because it's very annoying. So yeah, a bit more context there. Tough times, tricky situations surrounding both Trump and Vance. You never can be too sure, though Trump was not at the scene of the crime per se at the time. But you just never know with these things. It is fairly common, somewhat frequent, that these sorts of officer-involved shootings and such happen in the vicinity of the White House because, for one, we're talking D.C. It's not exactly a safe haven, and for two, they have to be on high alert, and then problems pop off because of that. So I don't know if there was any immediate threat. It is strange that this 27-year-old man traveled from Indiana to D.C. with a gun and also a knife, I believe, and supposedly had a death wish, quite literally. Wanted to die by cop, maybe. That's what I'm reading. So yes, on into this article. The Secret Service shot a man near the White House on Sunday shortly after midnight after an armed confrontation with law enforcement. Yada, 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 bing, bang, boom. 7th and F Streets Northwest. I'll pull up a screenshot of that intersection momentarily. On Saturday, local police had reported a suicidal individual possibly traveling to Washington from Indiana, the agency said. Secret Service personnel later found the individual's vehicle and spotted a person on foot who matched the description. Of course, the officers approached. The individual brandished a firearm, and an armed confrontation ensued. Shots were fired. I don't know that any shots were fired by the, should I say, suspect. Yeah, the suspect was taken to the hospital, and his condition was unknown. I don't know exactly what the word confrontation means in this situation, but that's the word they're using. 2 senior law enforcement officials told NBC News that the man is 27-year-old Andrew Dawson from Indiana. No Secret Service personnel were reported to be injured in the incident. The agency's statement said the incident was under investigation. Yes, Trump was in Florida at the time. That's the end of that article. Let me see if I can get this thread back on track here. Here's a statement directly from Secret Service Chief of Communications, Anthony Guglielmi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I did my best. You can do the rest. So here's what he had to say. First, the caption. Secret Service Uniform Division Chief Michael Buck provided an on-scene media briefing. Our preliminary statement is below. The D.C. Police Department will lead the investigation as they are the primary agency responsible for use of force incidents within the District of Columbia. This is actually part of a thread he put up. But the first part of the thread just announces the shooting. What I've already said. I think he actually gave the wrong street name there. G Streets, he said. Huh. So yeah, it was actually F Streets. Up here, he said G Streets, 17th and G Streets Northwest. But it's 17th and F Streets Northwest. But anyways, this is the statement from the department. Which he is sharing with us all. From the Secret Service, I should say. Similar to the one I already read up at the beginning of the thread, but I might as well go ahead and read this. On Sunday, March 9th, an adult male was shot by the U.S. Secret Service personnel following an armed confrontation. Okay, this is just more of the same. Same old, same old. Unless there's anything new in this, I'm just going to skip it. Drops. Dropping down here. Speed reading right on through this. The incident is under investigation by our Metropolitan Police Department. No need to keep repetitiously reading all of this. Okay. So back to my thread. I've already spent 15 minutes on this. This is from CNN. They say, on March 8, D.C. Metropolitan Police sent out a BOLO, which means be on the lookout, received from police in North Manchester, Indiana, concerning a 27-year-old man driving into the Washington, D.C. area who may be armed, emotionally disturbed, and possibly trying to attempt suicide by cop. Multiple law enforcement sources told CNN. There's an article here. I won't spend much time on it if it's also repetitious. Like I said, not a lot of new information to report right now. If there's more later, if there's actually some sort of criminal conspiracy here, something interesting, I'll try to update y'all. In addition to updating myself. But for now, yeah, just an ongoing investigation, and his condition is still unknown, for all I know. Let's see if there's anything in here. Yeah, President Trump was not at the White House Sunday morning. The person was taken to the hospital. Condition remains unknown. Secret Service said there were no injuries to members of their personnel. This part here I just read because I copied and pasted it into my caption. Officers found the man on foot just outside the Eisenhower Executive Office building and about a block from the White House, the sources said. The officers confronted the man who pointed the gun at himself. Okay, that's new, as opposed to what I read in the other articles. Ignored commands to drop the weapon and turn the gun in the direction of the Secret Service agents and officers, according to the law enforcement sources briefed on the incident. The officers then fired an unknown number of shots. An additional weapon, a rifle, was found in the car, according to the sources briefed. So maybe he was just trying to get their attention. He first pointed the gun at himself, ignored commands to drop it, then pointed it at them. Then they fired at him, hit him, injured him. And that was that. So it definitely sounds like he could have been looking for his way out, if you know what I mean. Not recommended. D.C. Metropolitan Police's Internal Affairs Division Force Investigations Team will lead the investigation into the incident. Guglielmi, the name I cannot pronounce, said, as they are the primary agency responsible for officer-involved shootings in the District of Columbia. No further details on the investigation. I don't know if there will be a press conference in the near future, but this is just what we've got for now. I believe this is the intersection of 17th and F Street Northwest, but I'm not sure where exactly Dawson was shot. That was sort of spoken to in the previous article. But yeah, you get a basic bit of imagery here. The White House is over here, all the White House grounds, and F Street Northwest right there, going this way, and running right into this street, which, though it's not named here, it goes up and curves a bit. And then the name is listed further up on Google Maps. That right there is 17th Street. Though, like I said, I'm not sure exactly where along there the actual shooting took place. And I'm not sure what each of these buildings are. You can't even see what I'm talking about, probably. But there's little buildings here shown on the White House grounds. They're not all named. Anyways, this is Andrew Dawson here. I did look for him briefly on Facebook. I don't know if his accounts have been scrubbed or if he even had accounts, but I did find one account with only older posts, but there was a guy with the same name who looked very similar to him. Could have been him, but yeah, everything on there was fairly old, nothing interesting, and I don't even know if it was him, so I'm not going to start putting out information unless it's being fairly widely reported on, or at least makes a lot of sense. Of course, widely reported on X, because you can learn a lot more on X these days than you can from mainstream media. I'm just trying to provide a bit of both here, reading from, say, CNN, and also stuff that I'm finding on X. Here's his car getting hauled away. This is just a short Secret Service statement here.
Around midnight last night, Secret Service personnel encountered the individual's vehicle parked around near 17th and F Street Northwest. Short time later, they observed an individual on foot matching the description. As officers approached, the individual brandished a firearm, at which time an armed encounter ensued, and Secret Service personnel discharged their service weapons. Around midnight last night.
Yeah. We get it. You get it. I've already spent 20 minutes on this, which is a bit unfortunate, especially considering how inconclusive this is. Last portion of my thread here, I just said something in quotes. Dawson has one previous arrest of possession of marijuana, or shall I say arrest for possession of marijuana and drug paraphernalia in 2018, but no other criminal record, according to Indiana court records. Two sources here, New York Post, and also this here, IB Times, International Business Times. Identified as a man from Indiana who was already on the radar of local cops. Dawson, a resident of North Manchester, Indiana, around 100 miles north of Indianapolis, was reportedly suicidal when he traveled to the Washington, D.C. area, according to intelligence provided by Indiana law enforcement sources revealed. Law enforcement officials suspect he wanted to commit suicide by cop. They suspect it. So, if that's speculation, courtesy of them. You didn't hear it here first. Dawson was shot near the Eisenhower Executive Office building, which I'm guessing was one of the ones I saw in the Google Maps image, but I'm not sure exactly which one. I'd have to look up a more thorough map of the White House grounds. After agents responding to an alert confronted him, he ended up shot, so on and so forth. Prior arrest in 2018 for possessing marijuana and drug paraphernalia. Had no other criminal history. More of the context we've already gone through. This makes reference to Trump survived assassination attempts. That was mentioned in the NBC News video, so no need to rehash that. I can skip all of this. This article is pretty much the same as the one I just read through. Dawson has one previous arrest for possession of marijuana and drug paraphernalia in 2018, but no other criminal history or record, according to Indiana court records. So, that's that. And I just want to say that if you have stuck around this long, I appreciate you. Hope you like, subscribe, and enjoy the ride if you haven't already done so. Keep in touch, keep in tune. New content is coming soon. Yeah. Sorry we didn't learn too much in the grand scheme of things, since not a lot of loose-lipped reporting on that. It just seems like a sad situation. Someone with some issues, to say the least, who decided to attempt to remedy those in the worst possible way. Not much of a remedy, if you ask me, but yeah, that's what I have to say for now. Peace.